Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be discussing this very important topic, the best pre-MBA career. Now this is very important because the way you start off your career is going to position you for your applications. It's no secret that certain careers lend themselves to business school really well. So some of those careers are going to be, let's call it investment banking, management consulting, private equity, venture capital. Now this is, I would say, like a gold standard for different business schools, because if you look at the class composition of a number of top universities, they have people coming from these backgrounds. Now, the argument that a lot of these people will say, well, it's very competitive, there's lots of people, coming from investment banking, consulting, and so forth. The reality is that when I'm observing the class profiles of different business schools, I can clearly see that most of the people working in these types of industries are going to the M7. I'm not seeing a whole lot of people who, for example, did any of these careers outside of the M7. Like, they're really concentrated towards the top schools, and I think that business schools really covet people that work in these industries. Now, I think apart from this, a lot of other jobs could be considered like the silver tier. And by the way, these tiers are going to be really based off of the impressiveness, selectivity of the applicants. So, for example, I would say jobs like corporate strategy and development, any sort of like leadership development programs, we'll just call that LDPs. This is the type of job that could be, really like a silver in terms of a lot of the people that go for these jobs may have targeted these types of jobs, but life happens and you end up with these kinds of jobs. These are great jobs. A lot of people who go to business school, they end up in leadership development programs or corporate strategy. It's very cushy, but in terms of the overall attractiveness to business schools, it's just a little bit below, the gold tier. And then, we can call this like the bronze tier. I would say, like professional jobs. So, for example, if you're working, in like say Big Four. Other jobs could be like, if you're working like at a Moody's Investor Services, Fitch Ratings, so like say ratings agencies. Now these are pretty good jobs, relative to most of what's out there. So I think that I've seen a lot of people with these Big Four backgrounds or working at ratings agencies, very similar types of jobs to this. I saw a guy working at Nielsen in the program. Now, obviously, in terms of the overall selectivity, it's a little bit lower than, so for between LDPs and these Big Four ratings agencies, it's a little bit arguable, but obviously, for corporate strategy and development, it's a little bit more selective than these types of jobs. So I think that business schools really prefer these gold and these silver tier candidates before the bronze tier candidates. And now there's like a lot of other types of backgrounds, and so you call this like, say, like a career switcher. Now your career switchers are going to be people that, like I know a particular guy who's like was a Michelin star chef. I know people who, for example, who are lawyers. They're trying to get their MBAs, doctors. There's people who are obviously entrepreneurs. You may have started a company, sold a company, and so these are really like wild cards. It's all about how you spin it. A lot of people, it's not very traditional to see somebody who's like a Michelin star chef in your MBA program. There's going to be one guy like that. Actually, I knew a guy who was part of the Olympics for his particular country, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. You're going to see people like that all the time. It's not totally standard in the program, but people will be like that. Now, yeah, if you don't fit into these gold, silver, bronze standards, then you basically kind of fit into like any particular job, as long as it's professional. So, for example, if you're working, for example, at like back office at like a bank, let's say you're working like IT at Goldman Sachs or something, or if you're working like as a credit analyst. Now, these types of jobs are totally fine if you have great GPA, a great GMAT, and the rest of your application shines. But you want to really focus more so on your future than really discuss all, like the day-to-day sort of mundane things about your job, because an MBA is a leadership degree. Let's just write that down really. MBA is leadership, and you want to highlight leadership in all of your all the aspects of your application. And so these types of jobs, like IT credit, I'll throw like things like financial analyst here. That could really be anything, right? These jobs are totally fine, as long as you're not, for example, doing like working as like an Uber driver. I mean, even that can be spun in some crazy reality situations. But like, yeah, if you're not like doing something that is just like not a professional job at all, any sort of average job is going to be totally fine. Assuming you have high GMAT, obviously, high GPA, like the rest of your application looks good. Now, if you have like issues with those other applications, other parts of the application, you may just have to like broaden your reach of schools. So maybe go for like a T25 or like make sure that you're really diversifying your picks. So I mean, if you're working as like an Uber driver, it's hard to go to like HBS, right? So yeah, this is like how I would think about it. I think that it's pretty like standard. People who are going to be going for these types of jobs in the bronze tier, they'll also be applying for the silver and golden tier. People who are going for the silver tier, they'll also be applying for the gold tier. So yeah, this is just how, from what I've seen through my program and through other programs, it's kind of lined up. If you have any thoughts, definitely add that in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and be on the lookout for more of these types of videos. All right, thank you.